The initial orbital-class rocket that was intended to be used more than once has successfully finished its most recent mission. The Falcon 9 rocket developed by SpaceX is a two-stage design that is reusable. This rocket is the first of its kind to successfully land on Earth for a second mission after being launched into space. SpaceX can provide many more cost-effective options for companies that are interested in gaining access to space as a result of the high reusability of its rockets. The Falcon 9 rocket has a height of 229.6 feet and weighs 1.2 million pounds altogether. The initial propulsion for the rocket is provided by 9 Merlin engines, which are capable of producing 1.3 million pounds of thrust at sea level and 1.5 million pounds in space respectively. The maximum payload that can be carried by a Falcon 9 rocket in geostationary transfer orbit is 18,300 kilograms, which is roughly equal to 50,300 pounds, and the maximum payload that can be carried by a Falcon 9 rocket in low Earth orbit is also equal to 50,300 pounds, GTO. There have been 103 launches using a Falcon 9 as of the date this article was written, the 1st of October 2021. Any lighter areas or lines on the rockets after a flight are indications of where they were cleaned, as SpaceX cleans the boosters in preparation for inspections between flights. When cleaning and inspecting the booster to get it ready for its next flight, the only thing that gets done is cleaning the welds. The exhaust that is produced by the re-entry and landing burns of the Falcon 9 causes it to generate a significant amount of heat while it is in the descent phase of its mission. These cause soot to accumulate on the sides of the booster, but when they are put away, their folded legs create a neat and compact profile. To put it more succinctly, it is very expensive and causes unnecessary delays in the second flight of a booster. Because SpaceX routinely reuses rockets after fewer than 30 days have passed since their most recent mission, the delays may accumulate very quickly. It is not recommended to use harsh chemicals in boosters, nor is it advised to simply add water to boosters. The potential for conflict is extremely low. In the year 2020, a mishap involving masking lacquer in a Merlin engine resulted in several delays while the cause of the problem was investigated. In addition, this grimier style has emerged as a fan favorite among people who are into space nerd culture. If boosters could land on drone ships, they would be able to bring a greater quantity of cargo into orbit while consuming less fuel. The launcher must perform a boost backburn after it has already exited the atmosphere for it to be able to counteract the horizontal velocity and return to the point of launch. Since the Dragon 2 is significantly heavier than its predecessor, SpaceX is unable to reuse its rocket after each launch. This is because the Dragon 2 is designed to carry more payload. However, the Cape Canaveral Landing Zone, LCS-1, can accommodate cargo resupply missions of any size up to and including Cirrus-20. Future flights will instead land on a drone ship out in the ocean. Reusing boosters is fraught with peril and can rack up significant costs. As boosters are reused, the level of complexity increases. Rockets, fairings, and Dragon capsules are brought back to the port using a fleet of rented boats that SpaceX pays for with its own money to ensure their safety. When rocket boosters are reused, the amount of cargo that can be launched into orbit is significantly reduced. It is not possible to increase the speed of the cargo while using the fuel that was used for landing. Car competitors like Hewlett approach design and testing is very different from how SpaceX does it. If SpaceX wants to quickly expand and improve, the company will need to take risks and learn from their mistakes, and Starship is just one example of how it will need to do this. ULA is more cautious and takes its time to ensure that the launch is a success, in contrast to SpaceX, which rushes through its first launch. When you try to reuse a rocket for the first time, you significantly increase the likelihood that something will go wrong. Tori Bruno has concluded that a booster must complete 10 test flights before it can be considered commercially viable. Even though this is considerably more than the 2 launches that SpaceX claims to need, the company just recently completed their first successful launch of rocket number 10. Despite these obstacles, a significant number of rocket companies are moving towards reuse. Rocket Lab and United Launch Alliance, ULA, are both looking into the possibility of reusing rocket stages in their missions. Boosters typically arrive at Port Canaveral between 3 and 4 days after they have been launched from Florida. Having said that, this estimation of time could be off depending on the specific flight path. Using satellite tracking apps such as Marine Traffic, you can track their return from a distance for a fee, provided that they are located at a significant distance from land. Gavin Cornwell is the person you should talk to if you want more information on the period in which these travelers arrive. It is provided that estimated times of arrival, ETAs, will be provided for SpaceX boats as well as other rocket-related boats. Its tweets are retweeted quite frequently by the team at Space Explored. The landing of the Falcon 9 booster was visible to people in Cocoa Beach who were located several miles away. If you go into Jetty Park, you will have the best possible view of the booster as it arrives at the pier. The entrance fee is $15 per day or $90 per year, whichever is greater. The Freddie Patrick boat ramp is an alternative to Jetty Park that does not cost any money and is situated in a convenient location nearby. The fact that people who are entering the port won't be able to see the booster is the most significant drawback of this location. After the booster has been processed at the dock, an area of grass located between Gators Dockside and Rusty's Seafood makes for an excellent vantage point. Diners have first dibs on the parking spots along the water, so drivers should park in the lot on the opposite side of the street. The B and the 4 are the first 2 digits in the serial numbers for Falcon 9 boosters. The first 7 V1.0 boosters that were manufactured were given the code B0000, while all subsequent production was given the code B1001. The booster number is followed by a seconds number, which is most commonly the launch number. Either a period or a hyphen can be used to denote this information. Within SpaceX's database, this launch is denoted by a hyphen instead of a number. On the packaging of the booster, you will find the last 2 digits of the serial number printed out for you to read. On newer boosters, you can find these in a space between the legs, and on older boosters, you can find them on top of the booster next to the Falcon 9 logo. The 51 has returned to the location where it first docked, but this time it is known as B105110. Regarding this matter, SpaceX has no idea what's going on. Elon has speculated that they may be able to use a single rocket for as many as 100 launches if the rate of degradation turns out to be significantly lower than expected. Although additional maintenance will be required, SpaceX intends to continue testing the boundaries of the rocket's lifespans with an increasing number of Starlink flights. For these missions, the only thing that is at risk of a launch failure is the payloads. Booster B1051 is currently in the lead when it comes to the total number of launches that have been carried out. Between March 2019's Demo 1 and February 2019's support of the Starlink V1.0L27 mission, Booster B1051 carried out 10 launches.